Hi there, DocMartin here, and today I want to talk to you about a question I frequently get from parents. I like to sing the praises of positive reinforcement and say, you need to really be about 5 to 1 positives to corrections, rewarding the child for doing good, paying attention to them. And it's not just talking about tangible items, but mainly just your encouragement and doing things with them can be very reinforcing. And parents frequently come back and will say, well, I don't like to do that because that's something they should be doing already. They know how to do that, and I'm just bribing them, and I don't like to bribe them. Well, that's a common question, and it's a valid question too. But reinforcement and bribery are really misunderstood, and bribery is something that parents fall into easily, and they tend to do without even realizing they're doing it. It's kind of a go-to tactic for many parents, and especially when they're dealing with tantrums or when they're out in public and they resort to bribery. So let me give you an example. I was working with a mom with a 5-year-old child with autism, and whenever he didn't get what he wanted, he would flop on the floor, start hitting and crying and screaming, and it didn't matter where he was. So his mom would use what I would call bribery techniques instead of reinforcement techniques. She was inadvertently reinforcing his problem behavior. And how did I know that? Well, it was pretty obvious that she was giving him things to turn off the crying, saying, hey, if you stop crying, you can have more time playing games on the computer. If you come with me and we go to get in the car, then I'm going to give you a time. We'll go to the park afterwards. So she was bribing him, and it wasn't reinforcing him. And he said, well, what's the difference between the two? What exactly is bribery? What exactly is reinforcement? Well, bribery is, you think of it, when you think of bribes, you think of somebody giving somebody money to do something illegal. But it is bribery when you use money or an object, and it could be edibles, given to a person to encourage them to engage in a behavior or complete an activity or task. Bribery is given before the person exhibits the behavior. This is a critical difference. Bribery is given before the person exhibits the behavior, the desired behavior. Okay, screaming and yelling, I bribe him and he shuts up. All right, so reinforcement is your encouraging or establishing patterns of behavior by using rewards and encouragement. The difference between the two depends upon the timing. Reinforcement is set up ahead of time before behavior occurs and happens after the behavior occurs. It's set up ahead of time, but it happens after the behavior occurs. Bribery occurs in the middle of challenging behaviors. Let me give you an example. And I use the grocery store because it's such a common one. Parents have so much problems, and kids got them. They got the parents when they're in the grocery store. They got them under the control. They want to be embarrassed. So, example of bribery. You go to the grocery store. The child begins crying, screaming, reaching, grabbing things, wanting things, knocking things off the shelf. You say, hey, be good. Stay in the grocery cart. Be quiet, and we'll go to McDonald's afterwards. Hey, the kid stops tantruming. You finish shopping and you go to McDonald's. That's the case of bribery. Now, same scenario. You go to the grocery store. The kid is quiet and good. So you finish shopping and you go home. So what's the difference? One was bribery and one wasn't bribery, but what was the difference between? I'm not talking the second one was not reinforcement. Did bribery work in the first case? Yes, it worked. It worked in the short term. But what did the kid learn? What did the child learn? He learned, hey, if I throw things and make a tantrum, I'm going to get something. I'm going to get what I want. And in the second case, the kid was good in the store and they went home. The kid didn't get rewarded for anything. The chances are that behavior is not going to repeat. Where the first scenario, that behavior is going to repeat again and again. And the other factor is that it's not only rewarding to the kid, it's rewarding to you. It's called negative reinforcement, but it's reinforcing in that the kid stops screaming and that's hey, it works. I feel good about it. So you tend to do it again and again and again. Long term, it's going to be, you're going to have a kid that's going to have a very serious problem going into grocery stores and not getting what he wants because he's learned. So let's take a look at reinforcement. Again, reinforcement is planned out. It's set up in advance. Okay, it's something is given or said to the person. When a specific behavior is exhibited, it will increase the likelihood that that behavior will occur again. So, same scenario. You go to the grocery store, but before you go, you say, if you behave well when we're in the store, afterwards, we will go to your favorite swing in the park and spend some time, have some fun at the park. Okay? And you go to the store. The kid starts screaming and crying. What do? You continue shopping. You ignore it. You don't say anything about it. You don't pay any attention to it. You do not offer McDonald's. You do not talk about misbehavior. If you finish your grocery store shopping, you get in the car and you drive home. And the kid says, what about McDonald's? And you said, the rule was simple. When you behave in the store, we go to McDonald's or we'll go to the park, whatever it was the reward was. But this time you didn't behave. Let's look at it. The same thing again. You give the rule ahead of time, except if you behave, we're going to go to the park or go to McDonald's. They're good the whole time in the store. You finish grocery shopping, and then you go to the park and play on the swing. Then you go to McDonald's, and hopefully you have a healthy snack and not an unhealthy one. So let's spend a little time and do a short test on this. If you offer your son an ice cream for doing his homework, is it a bribe or is it reinforcement? Think about it. Well, there's not enough information, really. You can ask yourself, did I give him the ice cream before or after the homework was complete? Did I stop him from not going to the desk and sitting down and then starting to do the homework, or did I set the rule up ahead of time? So if you set it up ahead of time, it is, I want you to do your homework, and if you sit there and do your homework for 10 minutes, then we're going to have some ice cream. But if the kid is refusing to do his homework and throwing things down and throwing a fit, and you say, hey, you want some ice cream? Be quiet, and I'll give you some ice cream. That's a bribe. Another example. I need my child to sit at the table during dinner time. So I bribed him with a cookie. Ruined his appetite. That's not cookies. Why do we always have to use tangibles anyway? But I would prefer that you'd use other highly preferred activities as reinforcers. So was it a bribe or reinforcement? Did I give him the cookie before he was sitting calmly at the table? Then it was a bribe. Did I give him the if-then rule and wait till after and give him the reinforcer? Then it's positive reinforcement. So let's take a look at that. Here's just a quick overview. Bribery is not planned out. The child is in control. It follows the problem behavior. There may be negotiation involved. You may go back and forth, blah, 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 blah. It works in the short time, and it worsens in the long term. So compare that to reinforcement. Reinforcement is planned out. The parent, the adult, is in control. It is given when the good behavior occurs. It includes encouragement. It may not end the tantrum. So you're not necessarily going to end the tantrum. You've got other things you may have to do to work on that, and that's a whole other topic. But in the long term, it works. I have seen parents inadvertently shape some of the worst problem behaviors imaginable by using bribery. And they've taught kids how to scream longer and longer and longer by bribing them to be quiet. And then they try not to. Then they say, well, I'm not going to give in this time. And kid screams for 5 more minutes longer, 10 more minutes, a half an hour. So then they give in. And the kid has learned the longer and longer and longer, no matter what, I'm going to get what I want at the end. And the bribe works. So that's it for today. I want you to, if you have any questions, or if you have other topics that you'd like to see me cover, go to managingmeltdowns@yahoo.com and leave me a message. I'd really appreciate that. And as long as I got you here, I might as well tell you that I have a Moving Beyond Meltdowns YouTube channel where I cover a lot of different things, and I've been doing a whole series on meltdowns and things to do. Instead, how to view meltdowns as stress-related and not necessarily as deliberate problem behaviors. And I'm going to have another one that's coming up where I'm going to talk about taking care of you, how you can take care of yourself. And then I've got a third one on sleep problems that will be coming soon. So just give me a try and take a look at there. And don't forget, send me an email at Managing Meltdowns if you have any more ideas or comments or questions you have. I'd really appreciate it. So until we meet again, just keep on trucking.